Hey everybody, this is Hake Hardware, and in this video we are going to go over how to set up Nextcloud using TurnKey Linux in Proxmox. So in the previous video we went over how to use the helper script to get Proxmox Nextcloud set up on Proxmox. This sort of automates or helps guide you through the creation of the VM, but ultimately they are just installing TurnKey Linux. So you can see, new TurnKey Nextcloud VM. If you don't want to use the script for security reasons, or you just want to learn how to do it yourself, honestly, it's not much more difficult to just install TurnKey Linux and have Nextcloud running. So that's what we're going to go over in this video. And the first thing is we need to download the ISO into our Proxmox instance. So open up the uh, Nextcloud turnkey page, and you're going to click on this 825 megabyte ISO, and you just want to go up here and cancel the download because you need to copy this direct link. So right click, copy link, and then uh, in Proxmox, you'll go down to local, then ISO images, then download from URL, paste in that URL, and then click query, and you should see .iso. If you don't have .iso, then maybe you accidentally try to download or copy the link from here. You actually have to be on the next page and copy it from the direct link. And then you'll just click download. And you're going to see the download begin. And once it's complete, you'll see a task OK. While that's downloading, let's get ready for the next step here, which is going to be creating the VM. So it's pretty straightforward. I think most people that are installing Nextcloud probably have launched a VM before. I'm going to recommend some resource settings. However, because there's so many apps and there's so many things that you can do in Nextcloud, you really have to decide for yourself what amount of resources you're going to assign. So I'm going to kind of do um, like a kind of a lower end system if you're mainly just using Nextcloud without a bunch of apps. Maybe you have like Nextcloud Office installed, something like that. Um, you know, you can use these settings. Luckily, with virtual machines, you can update, for the most part, a lot of the resources that are getting assigned. So let's jump back to Proxmox. We can see task OK. That just means we can click the X. And now you should see turnkey Nextcloud here, and we can go ahead and create the VM. So just go ahead and click Create VM in the top right there. I'm going to name it just TurnKey Linux Nextcloud. You can change the VM ID if you want. And then for the ISO image, we're going to, of course, select the one we just downloaded. Click Next. I prefer to use Q35 for the machine, and you have to use CBIOS for TurnKey Linux. It won't work with UV. And I always install the QEMU agent. And for the machine type, you can do, if you run into issues, you can try i4040FX. Q35 is newer, it's going to offer more features. And generally, if you have recent, like in the last 10 years, hardware, it's going to work just fine. For disk, I usually just leave it at 32 gigabytes. If you want, you can assign more. There's ways to attach external storage, and you can do just the operating system on this if you want, which takes up much less than 32 gigabytes. But I have a lot of space on this system, so I usually just leave it as 32. And then you want to turn on discard if you have an SSD, which really you should be installing Nextcloud on an SSD. I don't recommend it on like a hard drive. It's going to run really slow. And then you can do a cache if you want. Just you have to look up the differences, but it can typically make things run a little bit slower sometimes. But if you have an SSD, it's not a big deal. But your data is protected a little bit better. It's really a call that you can probably, I think in the Proxmox documentation, they go over it pretty well. We're just going to go ahead and click next. CPU, you want at least 2. That's definitely the bare minimum. If you're going to be running like Nextcloud Office or a lot of apps, I'd say at least 4 cores. And use host for the type. That's going to basically allow Proxmox to use all the features of your CPU. Memory, honestly, 4096, so 4 gigabytes is the minimum in my mind. I'd say give it as much as you can within reason. Like you don't need 64 gigabytes of memory, most likely. I'd say anywhere between like 4 and 16 would be probably a good range. Network, you're just gonna leave everything as it is. And then we're not, yeah, we can actually just start after created. So actually we're not going to. So we'll just click finish and Proxmox will get this virtual machine all set up. So go ahead and click on it and then go to console. And let me just jump to the wiki just to get to the point where we're at. So we went through all the settings here. You can see I did 8 gigabytes for in the wiki. Okay, so we're to the point where we can click Start Now, and we're going to install TurnKey Linux. So click Start Now. And you will see Install to Hard Disk. That's what we're going to want to do. And this is going to be a little bit hard to read, so I apologize for that. The console is not great, and that's one of the post-install steps is actually installing like a user and SSH so that you can use your own SSH client to log in and do any like sort of maintenance that you need to do. But basically we're going to choose, you can use the arrow keys and tab. So tab will get you down to like the OK button, and the arrow keys will allow you to select what you want to select. So we're going to use entire disk and set up the LVM. And we're going to just write the changes. There's only one disk. And for some reason it does 90%, but we're just going to do max. Okay, I accidentally had a caps lock down there, but okay, so max. And then yes, write changes to disk. This is usually pretty quick. Luckily, it's using Debian and pretty small. Looked like, I think the ISO was only like 800 megabytes. Okay, we're just going to click enter to install GRUB. Let that finish up, and then we're going to boot into the system. And at this point, it's basically done. There's a few things we're going to do. So we can just click tab to go down to OK, reboot the system, and then you're going to be prompted to press enter to remove the live medium. Now, we do want to do this. It'll work fine without actually removing it, but if you go over to hardware, we don't need this CD DVD drive anymore, so you can just click remove, and then yes. This yellow text here with the line through it basically just means it hasn't removed it yet because the virtual machine's running, but if you were to turn it off and turn it back on, it'll actually disappear. So we'll go back into console. Unfortunately, a reboot isn't enough, so it's actually still going to be on the system, but we're going to just boot into Debian. And once it boots up, you're actually good to go. So Nextcloud will have already been installed and you'll be able to go, well, actually, I'm skipping a few steps here. So you want to set up all your passwords. You do want to remember these or put them somewhere if you have a password manager. So I'm just gonna make a bunch of passwords here. Okay, and then now you need to put in your domain. So for the domain, you can go up to summary, and because we have the QEMU agent running, we can get our IP address right here. So 192.168.69.80, yours is going to be different. We'll just type that in. and then click enter for apply. I don't want any sort of API keys, and I'm just not going to provide my email address. You can if you want. And then we'll install the security updates right away. There's no point in waiting. So there is, while I'm waiting for this to be done, there is another way to install this, which is the all-in-one, which is a Docker image, and that's going to be the next video. So there's a few benefits of the all-in-one over using like the virtual machines. Well, it still is a virtual machine because I usually install Docker on the virtual machine and then I'll install the all-in-one. But there's a lot of benefits. It runs everything in Docker containers, and if you're going to run like NextOffice, it installs the Collabora server. It adds a bunch of functionality, and technically it's supposed to be a little bit faster, but you are running it in Docker. So there's like one new thing that you'll have to learn, but Docker is actually super easy to use. So I'm going to do that video next, and that is the actual way that I have it installed. I think it is faster, and I think it's just easier to manage, but it's a little bit more complex of an installation, unfortunately, because I guess, and this is just, I guess it depends on the person's use case, but I only run it locally. I don't try to access my Nextcloud instance like outside of my local internet or my local network. So I had to set it up a little bit different because it's kind of meant for being deployed on Linode or some sort of cloud service on a virtual machine and having access like publicly. And I think maybe I might do that in the future, but I don't want to pay for like a virtual machine or anything. So anyways, we are good to go. Um, what we can do now is just navigate to the HTTPS URL. And it's just going to be, you don't even have to go to a specific port or anything. So let's just open up a new tab. 192.168, actually we need to type in HTTPS 168.69, what was it? 80? 80. 80. And you're going to have to click advanced because we're using HTTPS and accept the risk and continue. So at this point, you can log in. So it'll be admin and then whatever you set up the password during the installation. And that's it. You are in Nextcloud. So I do recommend the post-install steps in the wiki because if you go over to, administration settings, you're going to see that we are on an older version, so 29.0.14. I think it's up to 31. They are staged updates, so you'll upgrade to 30 and then potentially update to 31. You're going to see like no maintenance window, no default region set, and then when you do an update, you're going to see more like warnings and stuff. So the post-install steps, we're all the way down here. We'll go over all sorts of things. So basically how to add a user so you can SSH in and then you can actually use like your own client, how to go in and do the updates. We have repairing MIME types. These are things you're going to need to do most likely after you update the system. So there'll be a video for that, but I highly recommend going through and doing those steps now if the video is not out yet. But that's it. You should have Nextcloud now running in your system and you can just mess around. I'll do another video actually too on just like general usage. I'm not an expert in Nextcloud. I've just started using it like this month. So I've got a lot to learn, but a lot of times it's nice to make these videos while I'm learning because I can really break it down easy for someone else that's also learning how to use Nextcloud. So hopefully it was helpful. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.